Hey there, I'm MamaLisa, and I've been blessed to meet amazing people along my life's journey. People with diverse careers, interests, and a passion for improving the world through acts of service and kindness. I'm an educator, a mother, wife, and friend to all. Early exposure to careers and training can change the world and end poverty as we know it. So what are you waiting for? Let's sit down, chat, and learn about careers together as we work to change the world. I'm MamaLisa. I know cool people, and I'm bringing it to you. And welcome to Career Talks with MamaLisa. Enjoy. Thank you for tuning in to today's Career Talk, where we will learn about the career challenges of these men and women serving in the fields of politics, military, and government.
Service. I think you make wise choices, you make good investments, and those kinds of things that make you live like Navy officer said, where you don't have to work, but you're passionate about what you do, and that is the best advice I think, MamaLisa, that we can give anybody. Make sure you're doing what you want to do, even if it's selling hair or whatever it is. Just be passionate about it.
Margaret,
Yes.
move over to Charles West. Charles, if you can share with us some of the challenges that you've overcome and things that you do outside of your governmental position.
Some of the challenges that I have overcome, you said don't hold back, so I'm not going to hold back on a lot of stuff, but I'm going to briefly get through it. Being in the military, being a man, working in HR in the early 90s was kind of hard for me. I have to talk about, as far as with kids and goals, don't ever let anyone tell you that you cannot do something. And what I hear a lot of time from the youth is, you don't know what I've been through. My mama did this, my mama did that, or in my family to do this, we never done this. And I think the young lady prior to me said, to a certain degree, not quoting her completely, but don't let your past dictate your future. You control your future. Don't let anyone else control what you do. You have control over what you do. So when I say that, set small attainable goals. Don't set a goal that's far fetched or way out there to where you struggle. I mean, struggling helps, but set small attainable goals, and when you reach one, set another small attainable goal. Just to add on to that, is when I was in my 20s, I lost my mother at age 23, 24. She died of brain cancer. So I had to grow up really quick. And then 2 years later, I lost my father. So those are some of the challenges that I had to face along the way to where I am now. On top of, at age 35, I had a heart attack. So I've been through some things that I cherish and that I'm proud of, not proud of, but at the same time, I never quit. I never stopped believing on believing that I can accomplish things. And me moving from Statesboro 5 years ago to McDonough, Georgia, I kind of saw some things happening prior to me leaving. Sometimes family names, people in your family will get you in positions that you don't want to be in, or that you choose not to be in, or it also gets you denied for things that you want to do. Being a hometown boy, but I was able to serve my country and able to serve my state, but I wasn't good enough to serve the police or the sheriff department, which I still don't get it. And what I would say is, don't stop. Don't let no one stop you. We moved here 5 years ago. My son, he can attest to this. He got here, never played quarterback in his life, in football, playing at all. They wanted him to play quarterback his ninth grade year. I took my son everywhere he needed to go to get him to training. And look at him now. He's at West Point on a full ride, $250,000 scholarship a year, going to West Point.
Thank you very much, Charles. That was good. Now we are going to hear from Miss Aldrich Cobb.
So for me, being in the military, it's a very patriarchal organization. It's dominated by men. And a lot of the jobs that I've been the only Black, the only female, the only young person. So that in and of itself is a challenge. But I think whatever you do, you just have to remain true to yourself. And for me, surrounding myself with good people. I too am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So, surrounding myself with people like that. Within the military, I've met a lot of people that have remained in my life. So, we move around every few years in the military, but there are some people who have stuck with me and in my life. So surrounding myself with good people has been very critical to me. Family is extremely important to me, and that's a lot of what I do in my not work time now. I spend a lot of time with my husband. He's also retired from the Navy. We attend church regularly. Obviously, right now we're not able to be active in our COVID environment where we live, so we're not physically going to church. But otherwise, I'm generally very active with my church, and so having faith to ground us is also very important. So making good choices early on. Give you options later in life. I don't want to do this, until I can't walk anymore, or I don't want to leave this job and have to go and work for somebody 9 to 5. And like Miss Margaret said, answer to somebody else. So I've been blessed with a solid foundation like Mr. Williams and like Miss Margaret. And so my father and mother taught me very early on about the importance of money and about paying yourself first. So I've done that my entire career. So when I get to the point where I'm ready to say I'm done, I just sail into the sunset and that's it. So making good choices, surrounding yourself with good people, and just remaining grounded.
Thank you for that, Aldrich. We did have another speaker. For those that are tuning in from a previous call, we had somebody to say the same thing, that you should always pay yourself first to try to create a firm financial foundation. So I hope that's sticking with our listeners. And now we'd like to come around to Mr. Wayne Williams.
Yes, challenges that have had. I will tell you, there have been many, and most of them have been myself. I've been my own challenges. But let me say this before I even go to that, because this is important. And those of you who are in the military currently and have previously been in the military, the challenges that exist with advancement, promotions, and so forth. And even in the military, there were so many. And I joined the military in 1980, in 79, 80 time frame. So it was a totally different military. It's a totally different army in so many respects. But still, the challenges of is how to advance and how to get over and getting around, some of the prejudices, racial divides, and so forth and so on, and being able to prove who you are and how, and how serious you are, and the fact that you are better than what a lot of people say you are. For an individual in today's army, it could be more challenging in some ways than it was for me, and that's why it is an honor to be on a call with other military, and especially an honor to be on a call with someone who has a son, a Black man, that is in West Point in New York. That is so, I get a knot in my throat, because that is such an achievement. And it's an achievement to us, and of course to him. But I cannot imagine the challenges and the situations that he has to go through and to deal with, and having to navigate, not only with the academics, but everything that goes along with it. Because it is an institution believe it or not, that is embedded in history, grounded in, a lot of people wouldn't realize it, in separation and racism itself.
Yeah.
So for him to be there for us, he's not just there for his parents. He's not just there for himself. He's there for us. And I thank God for it. And I commend you, brother. You raised the man that is there. And it's more than just West Point, because it has a whole lot more to do with than just the current position where it is. So my challenges, I just, and I just had to say that, I'm sorry. But the challenges that I have had, most of them have been me. A lot of times I didn't listen to the Lord. A lot of times I didn't listen to those who were sent by God to direct me. I was a young man. And I'm gonna tell you, I thought I could walk through a wall. I was tough. I was, and I was bigoted, and me trying to shape all of the stereotypes and all of that kind of stuff. And I probably made more problems than what I was gonna get anyway. But those challenges included not only myself, but those challenges included, other people trying to direct me listening to the wrong people. Instead of listening to the ones who wanted me to do right and wanted me to do well, sometimes I listened to those who did not have my best interests at my heart. And I just thank God that there were some people every place that I went. And I want young people to understand this, that when you help somebody, you're helping yourself. Every place that I went, there was somebody. God sent me a man to mentor me, to grab me by my collar, the back of my collar, and say, look at here, this is what you need to do. And not take no for an answer, because they wanted to guide me. So it was myself that they were saving for the most part. And yes, there were some other challenges. So yeah, I came through, during the time frame when it was okay. It wasn't and it wasn't a touchy-feely type military where you had to be careful what you say and how you treat people. There was no stress cards in the sort, but it was a challenge. And when I say me, yeah, I was fearful sometimes. It seemed like in particular, there were some places, some things that we had to deal with that just wasn't, that it was primitive military. And so we didn't have all the resources. And it was some things that just wasn't perfected. And so you was just scared. It's just that simple. And what I've done, God has helped me to do. The accomplishments that I've made, I literally attribute that to the folks who were grabbing me by my collar, kicking me in my behind, and were not letting me go out when I wanted to go out, and not letting me do the things that I wanted to do, and to study, and to that embarrassed me before people, to make sure I stayed on the right track. And I attribute it to the Lord, who my mother and everybody was praying for me, and I attribute all of my successes, and they were a lot. When the jobs that I've had in the military, I was a leader I came in the military in 1980. In 1981, I was a leader of a small squad. And from that day forward to the day that I left the military, I was in leadership position. And I experienced people from all walks of life. And I was a terrible leader. And I was an okay leader at times. But I've learned from all of my failures. And that is the most important thing that anybody can learn, is to learn from their failures. And I fell flat on my face. I was a terrible leader, and sometimes, believe it or not, I was probably a terrible person. But as time went on, and as God worked on me, and as the swords and the iron hit me and sharpened me, I began to see better. began to do better because I knew better and was taught better. And so the people that I came into contact with became family. And they become people who were looking to me for guidance. And so, yeah, when right now you hear the stories of the inspector generals of the intelligence agency and those that are being released. Well, the inspector general, I just want to put some perspective on that because I was an assistant inspector general, and those of you in the military know what that is. But that is one of the only officers of integrity, the only officers of truth that has no bias whatsoever that is left in the government. And I never would have thought they would be fired for not taking a side, because that is precisely what we would not do, take a side. And when I was going to Bosnia, there was no inspector generals, there was no doctrine for the inspector generals on the battlefield. So, and when we went to Herzegovina, I was, and I say this because it's important to me in my life that we helped write the doctrine of the inspector generals on the battlefield, and the integrity is upmost. And so, for me to be involved in an institution like that by itself is a testament to all those people who helped me. It's a testament to all those people who put their trust in me and to the military. One of the best jobs I've had was being able to train leaders at the Non-Commissioned Officers Academy. That was one of the best jobs I've ever had, because I was able to shape and mold leaders to go into situations and so forth and just kind of train them. Those of you who know basic non-commissioned officer training, BNOC and ANOC and so forth and so on, that is a very important job. And sometimes I was pretty terrible at that too, to be honest with you, but I had to learn from it. And so what you can do and you can get from your life and going through things right now is to learn from what you've done wrong. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't just say that, well, nobody knew about it and I'm gonna move on. No, what you do is you put it on you, because that's where you're gonna learn. And that's what I've learned. And one of the panelists said that don't go into don't select your career because of the finances. Oh, you better believe it. I don't act. One of the things I do now is youth career camp. I've been the president of youth career camp for 14 years. In 2006, we established youth career camp, and it has evolved over the years. But one of the things that I don't ask the participants anymore is, what do you want to be? Instead of asking them, what do you want to be, I ask them, what do you want to do in life? And you take what you like to do and want to do in life and build your career selections around that, what you want to do. And the fact is that when you find what you want to do, like that brother said, it won't be work. It won't be, dreading, because there are many teachers right now today, and y'all will attest to it. There are many teachers who said that they wanted to be a teacher, and now they're a teacher, they don't want to go to work. There are some people, not just teachers, but there are some people who wanted to be lawyers and whatever and just don't want to do it. Because it's, so make your selection carefully. Do what you want to do, but learn how to do things that you don't know how to do. Don't just work when you're working on. When I worked on my weaknesses, I wasn't just working on what I could do. That's not progress. Yes, of course, improve your good points, but don't just stick to that, because you're not growing as much. Try to improve the things that you have problems with. I had a problem with math. I had a real problem with math. You hear me? I mean, I was really bad at math. I failed every math class I had until I had put my head down and said, you know what? I am going to do this, because it made me feel stupid. That's the honest truth about it. But when you put your head down and you work on your weaknesses for real, And so once I did that, with the help of the Lord and some people that He sent me, once I began to look at it differently, I got better at it. And right now, today, I use algebra. I work with my hands a lot. I build things, and I use algebra in that. When people say that you can't use algebra, I beg to differ. You better use algebra. Well, anyway, I use algebra. And furthermore, and I'm going to leave it with this. Furthermore, when you get to the point in your life where you feel that you have made it and you have done the things that you wanted to do, might I suggest you consider reaching back, going back, and not only thanking the people that helped you get there, but help somebody else get there. Be a help to somebody that can't help themselves. Be somebody that belongs to something much bigger than what you are. And one of the things that I'm so proud to have been as a pastor. I've pastored New Beginning Christian Outreach Ministry. I pastored Mount Zion Outreach Center, and right now, today, I'm the general overseer of New Beginning. But I will tell you that it is a rewarding and it is a challenging thing to do. And it's probably the best job that anybody could ever love to hate. But it is a rewarding thing to do. I love it. And it's just been, so my challenges and where I am and what I do now, what I do now came from my overcoming of those challenges. And I would suggest that you consider, whenever you get to the point where you finish, you're not done. Sister, I tried to get in that rocking chair. I tried to not do anything. When I got out of the military, and I was going to go and do nothing. Sit in my chair to do nothing. It didn't work. It might have worked for 6 months, and I couldn't do it. In fact, I got out. I retired in 2005 in January. I started youth career camp, youth career week in 2006.
Well, I'm gonna try it out, Mr. Williams. I'm gonna see how long I can last in that rocking chair.
Give it a shot. I mean, I can't blame you for trying. You may love it. I just couldn't do it. But thank God for folks like you and for folks that on this panel that's willing to share and willing to pour into other people's lives. I thank God for being on this call. And the last thing I said, let me say this is, Sister Kim. Service. If you want the things that I've learned in leadership positions, I retired as a first sergeant. The thing that I've learned as a leader is that leadership is developed from service. You will more likely be an effective, poignant, and successful leader that cares for people if you served. So instead of trying to develop young leaders and make them leaders, teach them how to serve. When you serve, you learn how to be compassionate. When you serve, you learn how to care for people, care for others. You learn that when you lead, somebody is following you and you care about that. And when you serve, it teaches you selfless service. And that's what leadership really should be about. Service. And I'll just leave y'all with that.
All right. Amen, Pastor. That was very good. Thank you for sharing. And now we would like to hear from Craig Gordon.
All right. Lisa, I feel like you kind of set me up here. I got to go after Pastor Officer Williams and that testimony. I I don't know if I can pour water at that cup. That was strong and that was powerful, and it was from the heart. And I thank you for it. And I thank everybody else, not just the members of this call, but those who served or still serve in our military and all that you do for us. And I'm sorry I didn't start my opening greeting with that, but thank you so much for what you have done and what everybody else continues to do. I think, just based on everybody that I've seen on this call, we are born into challenges. Especially when you're Black and born in the South. I don't care, how many terms, President Obama did making history. When I look at what happened 70 miles from me down in Brunswick, where a Black man got gunned down like an antelope or a deer in the jungle, we still got a long way to go. And when I think about, challenges, one of my favorite, I guess, verbiages that Malcolm X said was, when the world catches a cold, Black folks get pneumonia. Well, now Black folks get COVID-19. And so, when I think about the initial challenges I got being elected to the General Assembly, the biggest thing was age. I was about 25 or 26. And the average age of a person that serves in the House of the Senate was like 63 or 65. And I don't know how many times, I got confused with being somebody's staffer. I got confused with one time a lady stopped me walking into the chambers and she thought I was a page. So, I think it was being able to make it so that people were judging you from what they thought or got to know you bringing to the table from a consensus building standpoint, and not what they saw visually. And it may have taken a year or two or three, I think, to get to that point. But I would, through mentorship and consensus building and making friends with everybody in both buildings, from the folks that help keep the building safe on the Georgia State Patrol, to the janitors in the building, to the attorneys in the budget office. My goal was to make sure that everybody knew my name, and after my name, I wanted to make sure that they knew I was from Savannah. And so when I came in their office, they knew it was something for the 163rd district, or something for Chatham County, or something for the city. So I just made it a point that I wanted to use what I felt like was, somewhat of a numbers prejudice to my advantage, and use it to be beneficial to the folks that sent me to the Capitol.
Thank you so much for that, Craig. And one of the things that I do hear our panelists sharing over and over is the importance of mentorship. So I hope you guys are listening to that. And now we're going to come back over to hear about the challenges faced by Nicole Whitaker.
Okay, let's see. So some of the challenges that I've had would be the area that I grew up in is predominantly white. There are 3 neighborhoods in this area that are predominantly African American. And getting elected was a challenge. And one of the things that I guess when I moved back to Pennsylvania, something that you guys should know, just to give you some history, is that this area is in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and was reported last year that in 150 years, the Democrats finally took over the county, so to speak. It has been run by Republicans since the Civil War. And when the Black neighborhoods we have neighborhoods full of African Americans that are all registered Democrat. You go to the polls, when you go to vote, there's nobody on the Democratic side running because everybody's Republican. So there's no vote. So you can't get anything. You can't vote anybody in office. You can't vote anybody out of office because nobody that looks like you is on the ballot. There's no Democratic Party in Upper Chichester. So my family has historically been Republican. And so when I moved back here, registered Republican, and what we did was we went around and got everyone registered to vote, changed everybody over to Republican. So we had some people that weren't in favor, and they didn't change, but most people changed to Republican, and got on the ballot, and I won. So I'm a registered Republican, and a lot of our this area is registered Republican, and some is by choice, some is because that's the only way you could get things done. Okay, so with that, I ran for office, and again, I won my seat, and I have been working. And when you're in office, when you're passing ordinances at the local level, you're passing ordinances. You are, doing resolutions, and you're just kind of overseeing the daily business of the township, and not necessarily anything on the state level, so to speak. So when you're there, you have to represent everyone, Republican, Democrats, independents, whatever. So that really doesn't come into play. It comes into play when you're running for office. And so the challenge is, I was the first Black woman elected. I became president of the board, and it was tough for people to, hey, you have a Black woman, and then I'm president of the board. So it was tough for them to for them to want to follow and follow me. So that was tough. And just being the only Black person, period, right? So you have all these people come out, they register to vote, they support you, and no one comes to the meetings, right? So we always do that and you could say this is the same as President Obama's second term. You reelect him, then you don't go out to vote in the midterms, and then he loses. He doesn't have, his last term is basically, he can't get anything done because you don't support. That's why you have to vote every time. You have to vote in every election. And so that's what I do outside of politics. Is I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated as well. I am actively involved in the alumni chapter here. I'm the current treasurer for my chapter, but we also go around and we're constantly getting people registered to vote. I was appointed to the governor's complete count census 2020 this year, so we're doing that. So I'm actively giving back and making sure that our people are educated and they know. So I don't care what you register for. Just register to vote, whether you're Republican or Democrat. We want you to register to vote. Understand that the importance of voting. And my daughter is 17 now, so she'll be voting. This will be her first election, so she'll be able to vote in November. So this past weekend, we went around and handed out mail-in ballots. Pennsylvania is one of the states that does not have early voting. Pennsylvania is also a state where you have to vote your party in the primary. So it's not an open ballot. If you're a registered Republican, you can only register Republican. Democrat, you can only vote Democrat. So this is the first time that they've actually had a mail-in ballot, and I should say a no excuse mail-in ballot. So we've had mail-in ballots. So if you're out of the country or you're out of your state on election day, you can vote by absentee ballot. Or if you have a doctor's appointment or a procedure, you can vote by absentee ballot. But this is the first time that we've been able to have a no excuse mail-in ballot. So especially with COVID-19, we wanted to target our communities of color to, hey, vote by mail. There's no reason for you to come out and stand in long lines. So we've been encouraging people to vote by mail. So I would say ultimately the biggest challenge is, I think, being Black, being a Republican, and kind of the way people kind of look at you with that. But it's a double-edged sword. So you have the Black folks that look at you funny, and then you have the white folks like, what are you doing? Right. So it's like I'm like, okay, I need to register to be independent so that I can be just like, not on either side, because there's issues with both parties. both parties. I see all of it, you know. So I think is you have to elect people that are going to do what you need them to do. If they're going to address the issues in your community, I don't care what party they are. You know, they have to be speaking the language that I am looking for, and they have to address the issues um, that are concerned in our community. So, and that's what I tell people all the time. You know, so, and I did not vote for Trump, and I will not ever, you know, not voting for Trump. Just so we're clear on that. No. So, so that's it. That's it.
Thank you so much, Nicole. That was a very good lesson in politics. You have to, you have to do what's right for you and stand for what you stand for and represent who you represent regardless. So thank you very much for that. Now, Larry, you are the last person, but I do have a brief interruption. You guys heard about the young man from West Point, Jalen. Jalen has joined us on the call. So Jalen, can you show your face at this time? All right, guys, this is Jalen West, and Jalen has just completed his freshman year at West Point. I understand you're out in the field now.
Hey, I'm kind of late to the party. I'm sorry. I just finished working now. I hear everybody talking about challenges, so I want to say that I defeated a lot of odds. Growing up, going to high school, I had dreads. I was an African American. Nobody thought that I'd be in a position that I am right now, and I just had to overcome a lot of things. It's big stereotypes for us young African American men, and I just wanted to put that image on myself and then show people differently. And now that I'm at West Point, I'm giving leadership characteristics and making myself a better leader for the future.
All right, Jalen, you did mention the fact with you having dreads, and we do understand the stereotypes that go along with dreads. But as you guys can see now, Jalen does not have the dreads, and he that's one of the things that I would like to address is leadership at the appropriate time. And I remember you did that without any reservations. Next thing I knew, one day you had long hair, the next day you were bald headed and headed off to West Point. Jalen, tell them about your GPA.
Well, I graduated high school with a 3.8 GPA.
And what else did you do besides just go to school?
Other than school, I'm big in the community. I sell shoes. I'm a young entrepreneur. Ever since I was little, I've been selling pecans out of the yard, just finding ways to make money the clean way.
All right, and tell us you've done more than just had the shoe business. Tell us about your woodwork that you do as well.
I'm very good with wood. So in high school, I was in construction class, wood shop class, and I used to make big shoe boxes. I used to make half pipes for skateboarders. I used to make dog houses for people, tables, some that we have in the house, benches, all kinds of stuff.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Jalen? If you do, you can put those in.
Yeah. Do I have to put it in the thing?
Okay, there you go. You have it, Jalen.
Well, actually, what is your MOS with your proposed MOS?
I do not have to choose yet until my junior year, but I want to do engineering, so I'm probably going to do something in the engineering field, more on the infantry side or field artillery.
Yeah, that's interesting. And if you have, do you have any opinions on how to, or any advice on how to approach things differently? I mean, in other words, you had to do some things differently to be able to get to where you were, different from everybody else, different from what the norm was. Do you have anything or any kind of input on, the approach to doing things outside of the norm?
I would tell people my age that patience is key. I used to rush things and things didn't go my way, and I would just be upset. And my parents taught me, don't expect too much, like expect the less. So when you get into a situation, you don't be disappointed. You just go in with an open mind, expect less, but more can happen. And just going with patience. Everything doesn't happen right away. God is an on-time God, and He will do what He wants in His favor. And school, I would say that grades are the most important. People look at you, but if you show them that you're smart and that you want to learn, then they can actually help you.
All right, thank you, Jalen. And we are going to wrap up tonight's call with Mr. Larry Lawton. We're going to hear about the challenges that you've overcome.
Can you guys hear me? You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Okay. So the challenges that I have faced, I do not remember. I think it was Miss Margaret. She claimed that she may have faced the most because she's older, and I beg to differ. I honestly think that I faced the most, and I'm probably the youngest. um, my challenges have been very, very personal and very real. I was born in Statesboro, Georgia. It is a rural area. Both my parents, I live with both my parents. My parents are pastors. Everyone knows them. But challenges that I have faced is trying to um, live in my own life or making my own name. One reason I left Statesboro was because so many people knew my parents, and I never wanted to get confused by them. Like, I didn't want to be known as Larry, the son of a pastor. Like, that's all that was ever said about me. That's all they knew. And so I wanted to come home, and I wanted to kind of trailblaze and do my own. And that is exactly what I have been doing. Challenges as well as in Statesboro. Even right now, this is a more personal one. I work, like I said, I have a lot of candidates that are running for office. One of those candidates happens to be a young lady that is actually choosing at this time to do certain things, like, call the police on me, verbally harass me, call me a punk in my inbox, and she's running for, the candidacy of the Board of Education. What it allowed me to learn through all of this is just because you are at a certain level or you hold a certain title in life does not mean that you know how to carry yourself that way. And just because that person may not know how to carry themselves in the correct likelihood of that title, that doesn't give us the job or the right to kind of slander them and basically, tear them down. There's always appropriate ways to do that. My challenges have been that I am a very spoiled individual, do not like the word no, so I had to grow up. So when things were told to me no that I didn't like, I always went around them. My dad taught me what someone doesn't do. If someone tells you no, there's always another person that will tell you yes. So I am that person where I will call and I'll be on the phone and this person will say no, and I'll very politely ask to speak to someone else because there's somebody that's going to say yes. And I take that outlook on life because I'm not going to take no for an answer with nothing that I do. Some things I do outside of my job. I have always been a humanitarian. When I was in the 12th grade at Statesboro High School, I was the first person to actually have our school, you know how they have pep rallies? I had our school actually honor Black history, where every single student had to go to the gym, where there was a program that was put on in honoring of Black history for Black History Month. That was the first time it was ever done in Statesboro High in the state of Georgia. And that was the last time it's been ever done. They have not done it anymore, but that was something that I did. I also started a nonprofit about maybe 13 years ago, and it's called SIT, which is called Staying in Touch. That is something my dad instilled in us. He told us, when you leave the home or the city you grew up in, even if you do not move back, you should always have ways to bring back and help your people come up. And when he said your people, my dad was just not speaking for African Americans. My dad, when he said your people, that's every human being. So that's something that I had learned. So when I came back to Statesboro, that's what I wanted to do. I have a nonprofit that's it. We give back school supplies, book bags, and everything to the less fortunate, and that is for the school year. Recently, last year in 2000, well, I have to get my years right. It's 2000, yeah, last year, 2019, in September, I purchased a home in Statesboro, Georgia, off of Proctor Street. And that home, I am actually going to start a transition house. This transition house is not going to be like the one where you have to be in jail or had to come out of jail in order to live there. This transition house will be for any and everyone that is literally in transition from a bad place to their life to a good place. So whether they need a job, whether the person has a home and they need somewhere to go to school or study, or they need a job, they need referrals, this is where they can come to that house. They will be able to live there. I have linked up with other people in Statesboro to help with fundings and programs. Right now, I am paying the monies to make it a nonprofit. I have came into some challenges that I did not think I was going to say, but I was in a relationship for 4 years. So, when you're in a relationship, you kind of mix monies together if it's a serious relationship, and you do begin to maybe do an account together and save like that. Well, after coming from a 4-year relationship with that type of security and then working 2 full-time jobs, and I bought the house to make a transition house during that time, I did not see where there could be any issues. Money was fine, everything was fine. God had a different plan. He allowed them to not call me back from my job. He also allowed my relationship to dismantle after 4 years. And it really put me in a place where I was like, well, God, I have to trust you, because I do not have $1,100 extra to pay to now make this into a nonprofit for my home, when I'm paying the overhead for my office, when I'm paying the overhead of just my regular bills. And so I really began to have to trust God. And yes, it slowed up for me. But with it slowing up, I'm still able to make every payment that I said, to the lady that's helping me with. Oh, I'm starting a 501c3. I've been able to make every payment. I've been able to live and do things that I would not be able to do, probably even if it was 2 people working. So I know that it was God, but I also know that every struggle that comes, you're supposed to learn from it. And what I'm learning from my struggles is never to give up, and never to always believe in yourself and believe in what you can do. My last thing that I want to put out there is, even going through this, and I want to try to encourage someone. I am 31 years old. I'll be 32 this year. And my biggest thing is, what I want to be known for is just to be a humanitarian. Like, at this time, I have people that live on my couch. There's school teachers, things that happen that I try to help people, because that's just what I want to do. And things come along where you may be looked at as a person that you're not. The guy that was at West Point, I have dreads. I love my dreads. I've had them 6 years. I try to keep them very neat. My dad did not like them, but I love them, and I am in the corporate world. And I've dealt with this for 6 years, where people stop you. I'm in Statesboro right now. I literally just got out of jail for 9 months in Statesboro for cocaine charges that I did not have. I had 2 goodie powders, and I had to sit in a Bullitt County jail for 9 months because they told me that I had dreads and that I had a Florida license and that I was probably selling drugs, and I was coming to Statesboro to do so. I've never had any drug things on my record. This is just an example of some of the things that I went through, and this was literally a year ago. I was released from jail a year ago, Mother's Day. Last Mother's Day, when I was released from jail, I had nowhere to go. I had no house, I had no home, no job, nothing. I moved into my parents' house, and I to work because my mom wouldn't take me to work. That wasn't the reason. The reason that I walked to work was because I was 30 years old. And regardless of the fact, yes, I didn't have any cocaine. Yes, they dropped those charges, but it still is not my parents' fault that I am in this predicament. So what I did was I accepted the help. And when I could do things on my own, I did that. So I walk to work. I never inconvenience them. I never ask them. Yes, they offer. And I would tell them, no, I'm fine in Statesboro. It's not that big. I'm still a man at the end of the day. And I think that's what we have to realize too. You're going to go through things in life and it may even be wrong and people may be doing you wrong. It's still about how you carry yourself. There's a blessing in what you go through. You never know what it is. It's just to go through it. Even with me going through that, I've gotten out of jail. The cocaine charges were dropped. And you know what? The people still put an ankle monitor on my leg. So imagine how crazy it is owning a business with an ankle monitor on your leg. You're not on probation. You have no other charges. I am not no thug. But this is just what I am going through right now while being, in Statesboro, just trying to work. I got a phone call from my attorney yesterday telling me that there's a candidate running for office that she decided to go down to the police station to press charges against me. I have done nothing wrong. Only thing that I did was, I think another person spoke on it before. I really spoke on what I believe. And Miss Lisa Campbell knows that is me. I am a person. If I believe something, I'm going to go wholeheartedly. I'm going to go all the way with it. My mind cannot be changed. I don't care who it is. No disrespect. It could be someone's mom. It could be anything. It's not going to change my mind. And we're going with this campaign. A candidate came into my inbox and called me a punk. And since that candidate was running for the Board of Education, I believe that there is no candidate that should have access to our children, that is a grown person that uses their words of disagreeing with someone as in to come into the inbox and calling them a punk. The definition of a punk is a worthless person. It is the biggest form of degradement, and that is what the Webster Dictionary said. Now, mind you, this is a candidate running for office asking for us to vote her in. So I didn't feel that that was right. And I began to get that out to the public that this is what she sent me. Upon me doing that, it has caused so much backlash. I literally have I've lost one client with my consultant agency with me doing so. And I still wouldn't change it for nothing. I would not change it. I'm not upset with that client. I wish them well, because when the story came out, the client literally had to tell everyone, Mr. Lawton does a damn good job. He has done a job A1 from day one. That is not why I'm leaving him. I'm not with him because of his opinion. So you have to learn to stand on what you believe when nobody is standing with you. And I'm going through that. Like I said, when you have someone that threatens to take away your livelihood, whether it's money or something, and you still stand firm on your beliefs, that's what it's about. And I'm sorry, I wouldn't change it. Even if I lost 30 clients right now, I would still be Larry, standing firm on his belief. I might be standing in somebody else's house, but I'm going to stand on my belief. Like, I'm not going to waver from that. And that's just what I'm doing now. I'm learning to not look at the situation and let it affect me. Right now in my life, there's several things going on, like several things that could be bad. And I get up and I go to work every day and I listen to Jacqueline Carr, You Will Win. That is my song. I play it 24/7. It does not go off a repeat. When I get off of this webinar, it's going to be on playing through my house because I had to find some type of way to cope with what the devil is trying to do. And I say that it's a devil because when you're trying to do something good, evil is always present. So he knows I'm not going to be stopped. And by January, the end of December and early January, Covering All Angels is the name of the transition house that my name I have paid for. It has been solidified. That will be open in Statesboro, Georgia, and I will be able to make my mark and have my name here so that whenever I'm long gone, I want people to remember that is the same short gay boy that was born in Statesboro and that was comfortable with himself, comfortable with his life, and I want to give back. That is all I want to do. Literally, I hear everyone say certain things about the rocking chairs and sitting down. I promise you, all I want to do every day is get up and help people. Swear to God, I just want to get up and just go somewhere, help someone, build a house, anything. That's all I ever wanted to do. I thank Ms. Campbell for this. This is the first time I've done anything like this. I was very nervous. The last section, I knew I was going to talk the most because I was very, very passionate about. Before we get off, I want to tell everyone that like I said, I have this nonprofit that I am starting, this transition house, to help me with getting money for the transition house. I have made t-shirts with my company, and these t-shirts, I'm sad that I can't find the black one, but these t-shirts, I found it. These t-shirts that I have, I made the t-shirts with my company. Give me a second and I'll show you guys, because I would like everyone's support if you can. The t-shirts come in black and white. I don't know how to do it now, but basically 15% of the proceeds of these t-shirts go to Ahmad's parents. I actually had my attorney to reach out to Ahmad, to his mom, and they actually gave me the okay to use the shirt in their son's honor. 15% of the proceeds from this shirt goes to their family, and then the rest of the proceeds go to Covering All Angels, which is the name of the home that I already have purchased. And like I said, the money is just so I can get it to be a nonprofit. And once I become a nonprofit, I will be able to get grants, and the grants will help pay for everything versus me paying for it. So that is actually what I'm trying to do. I wish that I can show you guys the shirt a little better, but it's not working. But just reach out to me or Miss Campbell if you want any information on the shirts. It's for a great cause. I would love the support. It's coming up a little bit. The back is a hashtag that says, yes, I still run with the mod, because I don't want us to forget that. I did a radio interview the other day, and I'm sorry that it's so long, but it's so serious. I was in tears because I don't know if you guys understand the caliber of what's going on. But like the front of my shirt says, we should not have to run for our lives while jogging for our health. That was serious to me. This man literally was jogging and they killed him. And I don't know how people don't cry about this every day. Every day I have to stop myself from crying, because that's literally our brother. That could have been my brother, my cousin. Like, how are we being gunned down and killed like we are ravenous animals? But yet and still, we have people of color going to West Point. We are everywhere. We have to stand up and claim our right back. And if we don't claim our right back, it will be the same. And to claim our right back, that means that we have to start walking as the kings and the queens that we are. That is just how I feel. I hope that you guys can see the shirt. The shirt, it's $20, and that's small through extra large. Anything above extra large is $25. I tried to make it as cheap as possible. What it cost me $12 to make the shirts, but I am trying to give 15% of the proceeds to Ahmad's family, and the rest goes to me for this for this transition house. I thank everybody for their time. But yes, we really have to do this. Like, even with the Ahmad, a lot of Black people, we will march and do everything while it's hot. When nobody else is doing it, we fizzle out. And that is our problem. We should always run for Ahmad. We should always run for ourselves. We should always do things that we need to do to better ourselves and not let that die. So thank everyone for that. And I will be sending the information in the chat for the shirts. I will be sending my Cash App. And yes, I do mail them. I will not require any extra money for me to mail. I will pay for that myself. I just want the money for the shirt because, like I said, there's people here. 2 nights ago, I picked up a 20-year-old girl running down the sidewalk on GSU campus, 3 months pregnant, with no underwear, no shorts, no nothing on, just a t-shirt. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I picked her up. Her boyfriend literally jumped on her. So I've been like feeding her. She's been living in my house. Last month, there was a 25-year-old girl that was homeless. She's a school teacher in Burke County, and she's an AKA. I found out she was homeless. I moved her in my house too, her and her dog. And, I'm just doing things that I can do. I don't want nobody else to do nothing. I just have to answer for myself. So that's why this is very, very serious to me. And even with my business, I use it to help the needy, to help within the community. That is really why I want my businesses. I don't want a lot of money to be rich. The only thing I want is a Range Rover, a nice 6-bedroom house, and I'm fine. Other than that, I just want to give to everyone else. So thank you guys. I'm gonna go because I could talk forever. This is my passion. This is it. Like, my passion is helping people. And I cannot stress it enough. You guys that is on this call, I promise you, if you guys donate into this shirt adventure, you will be amazed, and you will be helping me help the city of Statesboro when there are people that have nowhere to stay, on drugs, children. I mean, it's bad here right now. Even with this COVID-19, it's very bad. And I just want to get into a position where I can help and I can stop telling people no. I don't want to tell people no. Thank you guys, and you all have a wonderful day.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming on tonight. This has been the longest MamaLisa Talk in the history of MamaLisa Talk. So you guys are historic. But you know, that's what happens when you get servant leaders on the call. Y'all are talkers, and but you are passionate about what you do. So I appreciate you for that. Final thoughts for you tonight. Your panelists said, don't let your early life define the rest of your life. Don't be something. Think about what it is you want to do. Be a servant leader. Get a mentor. And when you find something that you love, you'll never go to work a day in your life. We love you guys, all of you. God bless you. And y'all have a great night. And thank y'all again for staying on over time. I really appreciate it.